Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Tata Gopinath Prabhu.
Nice.
Thanks for being with us
My
on this channel for the students. And so I'll give a brief history. So Tata Gopinath Prabhu is from Spain and he's 71 years old.
1 year.
He's 71 years old and he has been connected to the International Society for Krishna Consciousness for the past 35 years. 35 years. And he's a celibate monk his whole life. He's been practicing spirituality. And today we have requested him to please be on the show with all of you and share some of his, why he was attracted to spirituality and what his experiences are.
Yeah,
You are practicing
my
something?
background is Catholic, and I was actually quite interested in Catholicism. Very pious person, interested always in the spiritual life, and this plus this natural satisfaction and happiness all my life about so many things. So they forced me, Krishna forced me in this way to join the Hare Krishna movement.
So you're talking about some insatisfaction. You were unsatisfied.
In the
And
world.
by coming to this Krishna consciousness, what difference did it make?
Krishna consciousness is, after a few weeks practicing in London in Bhaktivedanta Manor, I noticed that Krishna consciousness is everything I really wanted from all my life. Spirituality, a deep understanding of God, deep understanding of principles and process and all sorts. Because Catholicism was a little bit ambiguous sometimes. And yeah, I joined. I really like it actually.
So do you find any difference between Catholic Christianity and Krishna consciousness, or some similarities or some differences?
Yes, some similarities are there, are supposed to be there, but Catholicism was a little bit ambiguous, relaxed in the principles, and I didn't understand why. But the person Jesus Christ was very attractive for me actually. He was. I was reading Bible, sorry, and all my life I thought that I would like to be a saint in the future.
Really?
Yeah, really.
That's wonderful.
And but the church, especially the church, I didn't like it. The behavior of the church, the Pope, the decisions taken by the church. I heard the movement, I heard the principles, the philosophy a little bit. I felt really attracted. I joined really with my heart.
So, like, some people may think this is some kind of a religious conversion or something. How would you explain it, or what are your feelings towards Lord Jesus Christ still now?
Still now, Jesus Christ, I really like Jesus Christ actually. And according with Srila Prabhupada, Jesus Christ is a pure devotee. I wanted a definition from Acharya, from a person, a devotee, very important devotee, and Srila Prabhupada, after a few months or years, I heard that according with Srila Prabhupada, Jesus Christ was a pure devotee. So I was satisfied by hearing that I was attached to someone very important, an Acharya, and that his religion, created religion, Catholicism, Christianity, is bona fide. Even if the church changed many things, Jesus Christ gave us principles and knowledge very deep and very. Still, the principles are okay, are nice, and I was interested in that. I was respecting more than before Jesus Christ.
After joining Krishna consciousness,
in the just measure, no. Srila Prabhupada was much more important for me, but Jesus Christ still was there as someone very important.
He was trying his best in a difficult situation.
He was helping me like anything, and I think Srila Prabhupada said that Jesus Christ helped us, in general, help devotees to join the movement, to practice Krishna consciousness. Yeah, it's like this.
So there is no conflict between
Not really. No
your
conflict.
yeah. So that's very nice.
The practices are more deep in Krishna consciousness.
So as we see, you are chanting on some beads. These are like in Christianity the rosary. Chanting the rosary. So you are here while practicing spirituality in the Hare Krishna movement. You are chanting on the beads. So what is your experience about this? And it's some kind of meditation. What is your experience about it?
Well, chanting the Mahamantra is a very, very important thing in my life. After hearing my Guru Maharaj, chanting the Mahamantra is extremely important. It's the most important thing. And then chanting early in the morning is very good. So I was attached at the beginning to the chanting Mahamantra, but now I'm becoming more and more attached by seeing the importance of this activity, chanting the Mahamantra.
So what do you experience while you chant, or
After
what would you
few-
like to share with people who are new to this process?
Well, I would like to tell you, Prabhus, that by chanting the Mahamantra, we can be satisfied, peaceful. I feel very peaceful because I never was peaceful in my life, and now I feel peaceful, satisfied, sometimes happy, as I said the other day in the program. Happy sometimes. I am not a very happy man, but I feel satisfied actually many times. And during the day, very, very often I feel completely peaceful, satisfied. I think that I am doing something very important for my life. And by knowing that after dying we can attain perfection, we can go to a better planet to still progress in Krishna consciousness, or maybe the spiritual world. I'm very, very good, because this is not clear in Christianity.
You find this is a difference?
One of the differences, yes. And the description of spiritual world is very clear in Krishna consciousness.
So in Christianity, it is described as the heaven where the Father, abode of the Father, the heaven. And
Something like that, yeah, something like that.
And in Krishna consciousness, what do you find extra or different?
Something like it was astonished is that the hell was forever, eternal in Christianity. And I was very terrified about that. I prefer something because
It's like
even if,
there is no room for improvement.
no room for improvement.
Once you're doomed forever.
Yeah, there is purgatory. Is the word is correct?
Yes,
purgatory. But for those who go to the hell, no purgatory. No relief. No.
So in the Vedic conception,
Yeah, we can improve. We can go back to Godhead in a few lifetimes after being chastised in the
After
hell.
practicing
on the
a
hell.
lot.
After practicing, we can go back to Godhead. This is a big difference.
and going back to Godhead means, can you explain to the newcomers?
Well, I don't know very well. I will tell you later on, one day. Going back to Godhead means attain love of God, attaining the status of real servant of God. Either we are in this material world or upstairs, as we say, upstairs with Krishna. With Krishna, still we are serving Krishna, which is our constitutional position. This is going back to God. If still we remain here in this material world for preaching, some purpose, choice by Krishna, okay, if we go upstairs, we say in Christianity, upstairs, sky to the sky. It's okay also.
We're
better.
aiming to go beyond the upstairs, I mean, quite far up the sky to the spiritual world.
So this is good actually. Yes. If we practice, if we fight against Maya, we can go back to Godhead.
So all of this is okay in your case because you have renounced the world and you are practicing spirituality full time. You are a monk. You have no responsibilities towards the world. But we have many people, many students who are not in that situation, or they cannot be it's difficult for them, or they just don't want to.
Yeah.
And they have their studies, or they have their jobs, or they have their families, and so how can they practice spirituality, and what would be your practical advice for them, how to balance it out?
Yeah, well, it depends. I mean, of the intensity, of the sincerity, but we can practice. But it's essential sadhusanga, actually.
Sadhusanga means?
Is, the Mahamantra is the most important thing, but sadhusanga is previous to the Mahamantra.
Sadhusanga means association with the devotees, advanced devotees.
And the Mahamantra is, we get the Mahamantra thanks to sadhusanga. Otherwise, the tendency of chanting the Mahamantra, if we don't chant purely, the tendency is to forget the Mahamantra, to forget many things, many activities in Krishna consciousness. It's my experience after seeing many people chanting in their house, but trying to practice in their house. Sooner or later they forget.
So
I advise them to get sadhusanga by all means. During the day, a few hours, completely.
So some students, they are staying far away from devotees or from temples. So how will they get sadhusanga?
That is a problem. By telephone, by...
Yes, these days, internet is, technology is so prevalent that it can be used actually. Live chatting or live Skype calls or WhatsApp, or there's so much technology which students are well aware of.
Right.
So they can use that.
Oh, definitely. We can use everything if it's favorable for sadhusanga. It's okay. But the tendency is to forget a little bit. The intensity of personal association with devotees, especially advanced devotees.
This is a very nice point.
Very important.
Because in the association of the devotees, then they can have kirtan, they can dance, chant, they can have prasad, they can reveal their hearts. And
then we can do many things, presents to devotees, and we can suffer sometimes. We can understand why we suffer. We become humble. Without association of devotees, we cannot be chastised by devotees, because we need to be chastised sometimes. Corrected.
Guided.
Guided.
So these were some positive directions you gave, and now we'd like to know some negative, that means some things which we should be aware of, we should not do, we should refrain from doing, like some students who are trying to cultivate spiritual life. So what are the things they should be aware of, they should be careful of, not to do?
Well, still I had to mention the sincerity. Depends of sincerity, depends of the deep or superficial understanding of Krishna consciousness. Of course, if we understand deeply Krishna consciousness, we join the movement immediately. But for those who want to still work in this material world and practice some Krishna consciousness, they should read Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, to join some friends in Krishna consciousness. It's important to make some friends in Krishna consciousness, to invite them, to be invited to their house, to the temples. This is very important, to visit the temple very often, to understand that we are servants of Krishna. They had to give, if they come to the temple, they had to give at least one flower as present to Krishna, to give some presents to devotees.
This is a very important point.
Something like that. Something like that. Sadhusanga is that, actually.
Love means to share, to give something.
To share.
So they should, and in the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna is saying that you may be the poorest of the poor, but if you simply give me a flower, a fruit, some water, or even a leaf, so I accept it if it's given with love.
With love, that is important.
To express our love towards Krishna, we should actually start giving.
Right.
Instead of taking.
Right.
Because in India, this culture is very much prevalent that, we go to God to take. He's the order supplier, he's the supplier, he's our father, and we should take from him.
Yeah.
But yes, you take as much as required, and when you feel satisfied, then you should give
Right,
in return.
that is the point.
That is the
That's
beginning
right.
of
That is the
sharing
point.
our love.
And also a very important thing I am thinking very often is that if you work outside, it's better not to be entangled in a very aggressive works, very aggressive activities like
Demanding.
killing animals,
Damn.
doing something with machines. We can alienate the mind of people, you know. Something like more simple, more soft activities is good. Is
So
good.
I can reterm it, I can rephrase it like this, that
Yeah.
maybe you can select a work which is not
Something like
too
that.
demanding, where you have some time to spare for your spiritual
Not only
practices.
time, but activities shouldn't be very aggressive, like working in a slaughterhouse, for example. It's
Yes,
very
yes.
exaggerated, but this is really nothing to do with Krishna consciousness. Even if you practice from outside, and if you are working in such a terrible work, we have to try to stop this.
Maybe you
job.
can select another work,
to select
find another
another
job.
thing, another job, more
Yes, yes.
congenial with spiritual life. Definitely, that is. I am thinking many times because I saw many cases, and you have to change that.
Okay. So anything else you'd like to add? Any message you'd like to give from your side or from your experience?
If Krishna consciousness at the beginning is not very pleasurable, try to tolerate, because after a few months or weeks, it depends, of course, you will be happy, you will be satisfied. This is a fact. It's what I see on the bodies. You can be happy. This is a fact. It's written in the books, and this it happens. So try to tolerate, and the benefit is so important, so big, that it's very nice to be in Krishna consciousness.
Okay, one last question I just
Yeah.
remembered, that while we are preaching in India, many people, they have a misconception that ISKCON is a Western company, it's a Western society which is trying to exploit Indians, trying to take their money and send it to the West, and all kinds of rumors. So what do you think about this, and what would you like to...
What can I say about that? This is a movement created by a very important acharya sent by Lord Chaitanya
And he happened to be Indian.
in India, because India has a tradition, very spiritual tradition with Vedic culture, because this tradition, these activities are in Vedic culture. And this Srila Prabhupada is explaining this movement for everyone in the world. Not only he went to the west, but he came also back to India.
And before going to the West, he actually tried to preach in India. But nobody really took it seriously.
So he took advantage of the big star devotees of America to come to India to explain this knowledge, the importance of this knowledge. So this knowledge is international, it's for everyone in the world, even for animals and trees and everyone. So nothing to do with this exploitation and money sending to West. No, it's not that. This is a bona fide spiritual movement addressed to everyone in the world, and everyone in the world should understand immediately it's like this. And this bad propaganda is coming from envious people, that's all.
It's unfortunate.
Unfortunate people.
Yeah. Okay, thank you so much
Thanks to you, Prabhu.
for your time. And we hope that the students will benefit a lot and take his word seriously, because he's been 35 years practicing, and you can see how happy he is. So if you'd like to be happy, please take the advice seriously and read Prabhupada's books, especially Bhagavad Gita as it is. It's a wonderful book which is transforming millions and millions of lives all across the globe, no matter they be which religion, which gender, which thought of atheism or theism or anything. But these books are really touching hearts and helping people. So please also take the help, accept the help, and be benefited. So we meet you next week with another video. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much. Sorry for my English. And
I know Tata Gopinath Prabhu for many years, and he's such a wonderful, such a humble, and such a mannered, well-mannered person. And all spiritual qualities. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.